So what I wanted to do was, one, say hello to my audience, and two, try to do a better job connecting with my audience to bring them in on some of the things that we do behind the scenes to serve our badass donuts. So I wanted to introduce the truck when it's not hustling and bustling a little bit, so that people are aware of the item that consumes all my time, the passion that I have that drives that focus, that drives that time that is so well spent to try to constantly improve on my craft, to constantly improve on my approach in the community, to try to also authentically be in the community. Because again, we made a video previously, right, telling people that, we're not in it for the money. Obviously, you own a business. Money's always going to be a byproduct of owning a business, and that's obviously the reason why a business exists. You have to have money to sustain the concept, but it should never be the primary focus. The primary focus should always be to, one, figure out why you're in market, right? And we know why we're in market. We're in market to serve fresh, made-to-order, all-natural donuts. But more so than that, we're in the market to provide joy. Still, after a year of doing this, working our asses off, I still have not lost the passion. I still have not lost the focus. I still have not lost the pleasure of being out in the community and serving my donuts, and more importantly, seeing the smiles on our people's faces, the excitement, the anticipation, before I open up any of these doors, people are lined up, and man, oh man, that makes me so happy. And also when I actually serve them a donut and they're hot potatoing that fresh donut, I think it's the best thing, because it's very rare that people actually get to taste a hot, fresh, made-to-order donut. And another thing too is it's really nice when I come out with a new concept, a new flavor, a new idea, and they're like, "Oh, we haven't had this one before." And to me, that also brings me joy. And then we see all the engagement and all the noise that doing a good job brings on the internet, on social media, and seeing all the posts, seeing all the comments really excites me. Unfortunately, I don't make enough time to do that, but we recently hired an awesome team member that does do that, and so she's always available to provide that two-way communication. And then she always taps me on the shoulder and says, "Hey, you should read this. This is pretty cool." And when I do it, it just absolutely brings me joy. So it's nice to know that, again, after a year of doing this, I'm still just as passionate, just as driven. And don't get me wrong, we've had a lot of hiccups. We've had a lot of hiccups along the way. For example, most recently, we had a catastrophic event that prevented us from operating for a few weeks. That was pretty interesting because we couldn't find parts for this truck, because it's a 20-year-old truck. So it's really difficult to find parts for a 20-year-old truck. And so I spent all of an entire weekend, and this is after an entire week of searching for this part, scouring through a junkyard, and found the part. We modified the part, and then 2 weeks later we're back up and running. But up until that event, the catastrophic event actually happened on the way to a job, or actually on the way from a job. So we're working all night, so excited, and it was a private event up north, and not 2 miles from the event, truck fails. And, basically I couldn't move anymore. The car just stopped. The truck just absolutely stopped. And so this was at 11 o'clock at night. Sent my employees home in an Uber. So I stayed with the truck trying to scour for a tow truck. And 2 tow trucks later, 1 cancellation, and now it's about 5 a.m. The truck gets hauled off to our repair shop. Arrived at 6 o'clock in the morning. I talked to the mechanics at 6:30. I laid my head to bed about 7:30, and the 2 weeks that followed were really heartbreaking because, again, I actually came to the possible reality of having to close up the shop for the season and having to buy a new food truck, which many of you may or may not know. It's a pretty expensive proposition. It's a pretty expensive endeavor, but more importantly, it's a pretty heartbreaking one because I put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this truck, and money, of course. But I wasn't going to be defeated, so I was trying to figure out some different alternative plans. Cutting this truck off and putting it on a trailer. That was one idea that we were tossing around. Another idea was just closing up shop and buying a new food truck trailer. But again, I wasn't going to be defeated, so I spent an entire week of my free time trying to find this part, even to the point of driving down to St. Louis to another junkyard to get it. So long story short, a couple hours later from my house, drove down to the junkyard. That was, like I said, a couple hours from my house, and had the guys take that part off an old truck, brought it over to the mechanics. They modified it. 2 days later, we're back up and running. 2 weeks and 2 days later. And then a few months before that, I had another failure where the engine just kind of crapped out on me. And again, those things happen. But again, we don't lose the focus. We don't lose the drive. And I'm blessed and grateful that our community has stuck by us and patiently waited for us to come back to market. And so I wanted to share with you all some of these small stories that we keep from you, because sometimes I feel like it's not your fault for some of the circumstances that occur in business, right? There's no excuse, but these are not excuses. These are realities of opening up your own business, realities of owning a food truck, because there's a lot of moving pieces. You have two pieces. You have the kitchen and you have the actual truck. And if any one of those two don't operate, the whole unit doesn't operate. And so I wanted to share this with you guys because I want you guys to connect a little bit more with who we are, why we exist, what we do. And I thought it was important to kind of share that with you because not too many people get personally exposed to the backgrounds and intricacies of a food truck, right? If any one of you are interested, anybody, doesn't matter, in opening up a food truck, small business, I want to make myself available. In fact, I will make myself available to provide any feedback, any of my experiences, basically any information that I have acquired over the last few years going through this adventure. It's yours. I'd rather give it to you versus you spend the hours and hours and hours that I did, countless days, weeks, going through many resources and Google, etc. I'd rather just share that knowledge, that experience with you guys, because no one did that for me. Unfortunately, the food truck community here in Chicago is not as open and available as I would like, as it is in other parts of this country, unfortunately. But it is what it is. But that doesn't mean that it's discouraged me from doing not only what I do, but also providing what I know to my community. And this is no fee, no charge to nobody. So I'm more than happy, willing, and able to make myself available to answer any of your questions if you're even thinking about doing a food truck. Because I will say this: it's a lot of hard work. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of work, a lot of. It's like that duck on a lake. He's smooth on that lake, but underneath he's paddling hard as heck. So I want you to be very clear. There's a lot of work that goes into owning a food truck. You have not only owning and operating the actual truck, all the licensing, insurances, etc. But you also have the kitchen part and all the licensing and insurances and etc. that goes along with owning a kitchen. We also have the political landscape and the business aspects of insurances and licenses outside of the food truck with all these townships. So there's a lot of moving pieces. But make no mistake, even though it's a lot of work, there's a lot of gratification, a lot of joy that I still get each and every day by doing this. And I don't want to discourage anyone from opening up a food truck. In fact, I encourage you to take on this challenge, this adventure, but first and foremost, know why you are in market, right? What is your reason to do this? Because if it's money, don't even talk to me. If it's because you want to try something new and something different, now we talking. If it's because you've always wanted to do this and you want to bring people joy and happiness through food, man, make sure you call me directly, because now we're really talking, you know. But please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach out to me via email at the Chicago Donut Company at gmail.com. You can also hit me up on Messenger, Instagram, Messenger. You can also hit me up on Twitter. So there's no excuse. And also my phone number is posted on Google, on my website, and also on Facebook. So there's no excuse on not being able to reach out to me. And again, this is complimentary to you under one condition, that you're doing this authentically. So thank you.